one problem with men is that they don't tell women the truth, and the number one problem with women is that they can't handle the truth. Simple.
That's a good paradigm to start from, because it's actually very interesting you say that. A lot of women say, I just want a man who's honest. And then the second you're honest, she's like, what? You did what? It's like, well, then don't ask me for honesty. Of course I fucking lie.
Thank you.
So that's a good point. I agree with that.
True. Yeah, women actually don't want total honesty. They don't want total disclosure. They really don't. Which is why one of the rules of relationships is never disclose your end count. She doesn't want to know. Really, she doesn't want to know. Whether it's high, whether it's low, she doesn't want to know.
That one. I don't think it's the biggest problem, but it certainly is a problem in relationships today. That is a problem. The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper-competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. And that's all women's fault, of course. Because, no, but it is. Because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. So women pretend to give a shit about men. Of course they don't. They give a shit about themselves. And a woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat. And is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have. And it's becoming harder and harder, and you end up with people, top G's, who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for, and then you got other guys who have nothing, and there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground.
That's right. And that arises out of unchained, unfettered hypergamy. That's right. In 2023, our society has become, at least with regards to bedroom fun, it's become group of men who are hyper successful and doing super well, and a group of men that have literally zero. And I don't mean, when I say literally, it's not an exaggeration. They get nothing, zero attention. They talk to a girl and it's like they don't exist. That's the reality. And it's true. And it's becoming harder and harder because, again, the idea of a middle class is breaking down. As we speak, 2023, it's already breaking down. There's going to be, within the next 10 to 30 to 50 years, I don't know exactly, only 2 classes of people. Upper class and peasants. That's it. That's where we're going. As it stands. We're going there. And when there's that many peasants, the West is not, they're not going to be first world countries anymore. It's going to be second world countries. For most people, anyway.
You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today.
What about the women?
What about them?
Well, I would say... I'll tell you.
Well, everybody's got a chance to talk.
Okay, let's see what the problem with women is. But anyway, here. Hello and welcome to heliosblog. My name is Helios, here for another reaction video. If you're new to the channel, liking the content, hit that sub, hit all for notifications. If you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon with exclusive content, newly revamped, posting weekly content, patreon.com/theheliosblog. Just go there and subscribe. Again, it's patreon.com/theheliosblog. You could also drop me a donation, like Adrian R. or Tom M. here. Shout outs to them. A link is in the description. Let's continue.
I'm going to shut up and have my clementine.
No, I want to know. I want to learn from you, sir.
You want to learn from me?
Well, I wanted to answer. I feel like it goes for both. It's not just one or the other. I feel like it's...
Yeah, again, when women answer questions like this, it's always egalitarian equalism. It's always men and women are equal, the same problems are both for men and women, etc.
Of accountability.
Definitely.
Women are not accountable for themselves. I agree with you there.
Why
0%.
Just women though? What
It's
about
both.
men?
It's
Yeah,
both.
It is
definitely both.
It is both. You're right. But society punishes men for not being self-accountable. But society does not punish women for not being self-accountable. I'll give you an example. If you're a man and you're arrogant and you think you're something when you're not, trust me, society will teach you very quickly that you don't matter when you don't get laid and you stay a fucking brokey. If you're a chick and think you're something when you're not, you can run around with your ego, still get dates, still get laid, still have a fairly sensible social life. Society as a whole doesn't come along and slap you in the face with realizations. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. You'll get made fun of. You get 0 girls. You won't have friends. People will literally walk away from you. No, it's absolutely true. Men are held accountable, and men are held accountable at every level. If they're short, they're held accountable. If they're weak, they're held accountable. If they're stupid, they're held accountable. If they're irresponsible, they're held accountable. If they're unwise, they're held accountable. The only people who are not held accountable, and this is why the girls are saying that men are not held accountable, is chads are not held accountable by women. Top 10% men can basically do whatever they want and girls will accept it. That's how that goes.
That's the difference. This is why men in general are more self-accountable, because the men who are not self-accountable get fucked up. So those who are successful are very self-accountable people. They look at themselves and go, okay, the only way I'm going to get and progress further, the reason she left me, the only way I'm going to do better, make more money, et cetera, is I have to change. Most women don't want to do that. They don't sit and think, I have to change. They think, oh, he left me because it's him, and I lost my job because my boss, and this is this because of this. No, you women don't look in the mirror and change a fucking thing.
No, because don't forget what you're forgetting right nowadays. They can't change it because it's all about body positivity.
Are you
they
saying?
can look sexy at a size 28.
Are you saying
True.
Lizzo's not a 10?
Are you guys trying to get me canceled?
See, I'm not gonna lie, I don't agree with what you just said, because 90% of cosmetic surgery is by women.
Yeah. You know why 90% of cosmetic surgery is performed by women? Because they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to say, I could get a more attractive man if I was thinner. No, they're like, I need a different nose or whatever. But there's more than that. These girls want Chad. And if they're not getting Chad, then they'll do whatever it takes to get Chad. You think girls are getting cosmetic surgery to get Joe Schmo down the street who can't even afford a car? You better believe that's not why.
Men are trying to change as much as possible. Men don't want to change. They're not accountable. for
Chad
themselves.
doesn't want to
They
change.
think that because they're a man, you're going to be attracted to them. No. Like, you can
Yeah, Chad is attractive to a gigantic proportion, a gigantic percentage of men. Maybe to men too, but a gigantic percentage of women. And so Chad doesn't have to change. He's already there.
You can't be fat. You stay at home. You're just playing video games, and you expect a woman to want to fuck you. No, she's not going to want to fuck you.
Yeah, but then she
Absolutely.
won't. This is the point. And then she won't, and society will teach them a lesson. They might be able
That's
to pull
right.
off a little blag with a girl for a year or so, but in general, they're going to end up lonely. In general, they're going to struggle to find partners. I agree with you with the cosmetic surgery thing.
Exactly.
Women are happy to change their appearance and change how they look, but they're not happy to change how they act. Most of them, they're not
Yes,
happy
True.
to change. No, they're not.
The
No.
women are changing what the men don't care about. The men don't care about the big old lips.
Yes, they do.
It's true.
The women are doing that for themselves.
Yeah.
Because the men don't care about it. The men would rather a woman change her stinking attitude
Absolutely.
than put on all that makeup and hair and everything. That's what the men want. But
That's absolutely 100% based. Yes, exactly. I would take an average girl 5 out of 10 in looks, but 10 out of 10 in behavior every day over the other way around. Well, you know, of course, if she was a 10 out of 10 in looks, which doesn't exist, but let's say she was a 9 out of 10 in looks, of course, my biology would scream for me to have bedroom fun with her, right? But would I want to date her in a long-term arrangement? Sure, if it was friends with benefits, but only then, right? I would never make that girl my serious girlfriend because she would embarrass me. I would never make her my wife. Like, even though my biology would be screaming for me to have children with her, because she's so bad in terms of personality. And 2023 is full of girls like that.
the women will go out there like, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. If you look at a man and the man said, yeah, he's fat. The man will most, if he's feeling bad about himself, he wants to make something, he'll go and hit the gym. What's the woman going to do? Go and do? Get a BBL, get her lips done, put on her makeup, put on her hair, and stay the big old fat person that she is and say, oh, it's body positivity. The men don't
True.
even want that. And that's, the women are not getting all this cosmetic surgery for the men. They're getting it for themselves. You can't turn around. What man wants a woman that's going to turn around, go and have an operation and can't sit on a plane because her arse has been injected or been interfered with? She got to lie there on her stomach. Do you think the men want that? Or wake up in the morning before you got to hit the house. She's got to put on. I'm sure I worried about some of the men because they must go out with a woman. And then when they wake up in the morning, they think, who the hell is she?
Absolutely true. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely true. Like, no, and I actually disagree with why that the women are doing it, quote unquote, for themselves. No, they're doing it because they think that's what they need to do to compete, because it's fashionable to do it. Because women are followers of trends, right? If the trend is to get Chad, you have to do this, 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 they're going to do this, 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 even though it's stupid, even though it's not actually what he wants, because that is what's fashionable at the time, right? That's why, because they follow what's in fashion, because they're herd creatures. That's why. Okay. Let's read a chapter from Roland Tomasi's Rational Male. This is Plate Theory 2, Non-Exclusivity. Women would rather share a high-value man than be saddled with a fateful loser. The following is a quote from a Rational Male reader. I just started applying plate theory, and I have to say with all honesty, this is probably the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. The feeling of having options is addictive. The whole idea that you don't come from a necessitous emotional state is genius, and in fact, the more options you have, the more attractive you become to women. Through the unconscious changes in your behavior. The more women have become attracted to you, the more options you have. Once you get it started, it's hard to stop it. Recently, I've been spinning plates with some success, but there comes a point when I risk one girl finding out about another. How do I handle this without the risk of losing one of my plates? Should I even bother with the effort of spinning plates that aren't as high value as others? Real options are the cornerstone of confidence, so try not to think of it in terms of risk, as in you're risking the loss of a great girl. Most guys get to a point where game and plate spinning give them their first taste of real options to select from or fall back on when another option doesn't pan out. The problem arises when they spin enough plates successfully to the point where they think they've maxed out their best option, and the old beta mindset of the scarcity mentality returns. Most times, the guy who newly practices game and plate spinning never really spins plates per se. He uses it for the first monogamous opportunity that's been eluding him for so long, and then calls it quits. So he never actualizes and internalizes an abundance mentality. Spinning plates doesn't necessarily mean you're having bedroom fun with all your plates. It's more of a spreading out of your efforts across a wider pool of subjects. Some will reciprocate, and those you entertain. Others will not, or prove to be less desirable, and those you let fall. This isn't as difficult as it sounds once you've established your own resolve to be non-exclusive. At some point, women will attempt to corner you into exclusivity, and this is where your resolve will be tested. Women love to say how they have rules. Well, you must have rules as well. This means not shacking up with a woman, not slipping into any routine with her, not calling her more than necessary to set up another sporadic date, saving your weekends for women who've proven interest level in you, and relegating those who haven't to Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This may seem like a lot of micromanagement, but once you put it into practice in as pragmatic a way as possible to accommodate your life, you'll find that the decisions you make regarding the plates you're choosing to spin will become automatic. If you feel that you have something to lose with a particular girl, you're no longer spinning plates. You're thinking and approaching dating in terms of exclusivity. Long ago on the SOSWA forum, the most enigmatic of members named Pook came up with a great quote. Women would rather share a high-value man than be saddled by a faithful loser. A lot of guys have a big problem with the truth of this because they take it too literally. Pook wasn't suggesting that you overtly declare that you'll be open to other options and that your girl should consciously be expected to accept this. Every woman takes this quote in this way, and with good reason, because they don't want to seem like an easy mark. When it's on the table like that, it's unsurprisingly an affront to their pride and self-worth. However, in practice, non-exclusivity has to be covert. It needs to be implied, not declared. Thus, you see the truth in Pook's observation. Women's behavior will bear him out. Imagination and competition anxiety paired with implied non-exclusivity are the cornerstones of successful plate spinning. Become the commodity she's looking for. A high-value man can spin plates, and sometimes those plates suspect there are or know there are other plates in the rotation. Women will tolerate this so long as he remains high-value enough, or effectively presents that perception, to her from a bedroom fund market value perspective. If not, hypergamy will move her along to another high-value man. As I stated in Plate Theory 1, some plates fall off to be replaced by new ones. You must be willing and confident enough to let some of them fall. It's a tough reality for recovering chumps new to game to accept. Deprivation has conditioned them to hang on to a sure thing. This becomes all the more difficult when the plate they happened to drop was the first woman they'd ever successfully applied game to, or she was hotter than any girl they've previously been with. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be having bedroom fun with every one of the plates you're spinning. This used to be called dating in the days before serial monogamy became the fashion. It's the potential in knowing that you could be, or that there are women on standby who will value your attention that prompts a competition anxiety. If you're Having bedroom fun with some of the plates you're spinning, so much the better, since you know that they're proven commodities, and if one isn't performing as you'd like, you have the unconscious knowledge that others will, or you have the proven ability to generate more options. Monogamy is a byproduct, not the goal. One of the biggest obstacles guys have with plate theory is breaking themselves of this LTR as goal mentality. Obviously, I'm not anti-monogamy. However, monogamy should never be a goal in and of itself. It should be a byproduct of plate theory, but only when you've properly filtered through enough plates to understand how options play into confidence and controlling the frame. The frame you enter into a committed monogamy with is imperative to the health of a relationship. If a woman is unwilling to be non-exclusive with you, i.e. she'll leave me if I see other girls, she isn't a plate to spin. This seems counterintuitive to the guy with an LTR as goal mentality, and it is, but the guy who can fearlessly and honestly stay above board with his intent is the one who'll be spinning more plates and dating within his frame. Most guys are deathly afraid of losing that one perfect girl, and so they never even attempt to spin more than one plate, much less have many others to compare her perfection to in the first place. I've even seen PUAs do exactly this. They're so impressed with the success of a newly perfected techniques that they settle for the one dream girl and find that their attentions become valueless to her because she perceives she's his only option. His script gets flipped on him and he gets marginalized. It's not a failure in technique, but rather a failure in mindset. So what do you do to establish your place and be truly and successfully non-exclusive? Initially, I'd suggest doing exactly what most women have perfected for the better part of their lifetimes. Internalize an intentional ambiguity. Women practice play theory by default. They play the hard to get. They know how to be ambiguous enough to keep their options open, but not so much as to let a guy's interests fail. They naturally know that we only chase what runs away from us. They never commit fully, but still keep the carrot in front of the donkey. Women communicate covertly, with gestures, with looks, with veiled meanings. You have to communicate your intent to be non-exclusive covertly. Never overtly tell a woman you've got other plates than her splitting. Allow her to discover this by your mannerisms, your behaviors, and definitely your availability. Create value through scarcity. Don't be so available to her, but just enough to keep her interest and allow her mind to consider that maybe you have other options. Even when you don't. Fermenting this anxiety is a very useful tool for you while you do get more plates to spin. Even the ambient confidence that comes from knowing you have a past, proven ability to generate more bedroom fun options for yourself will manifest itself in your personality and trigger this competition anxiety. At some point, a woman will resort to overt communication when she's run out of options in her covert communications toolset. This is the point the anxiety becomes unbearable and the need for security forces her to be overt. This is usually the stage at which she'll ask something like direct, like, "Where is this going?" or "Am I your girlfriend?" Or she may even give you an ultimatum. See this for what it is. She feels powerless and this is a press to commit. This is the point at which you'll end up a cheater or you'll continue to spin plates. You actually have a lot of options in this situation. In fact, more than you'll ever have with any individual woman. You can of course take the coward's path and just agree to exclusivity, but in doing so you lose all options. As she intently becomes your only means of intimacy, she becomes the broker for your options and bedroom fun, and you lose power, whereas before you were in control of your bedroom fun availability. You could continue to spin her as well, but bear in mind she's resorted to overtly confronting you about it, and it won't be the last you hear of it. Depending on how long you've had her around, you may simply just let her drop. You might also keep it going, but let it cool a bit and come back to her in a few weeks' time. Again, this seems counterintuitive, but your attention will either wildly increase in her value of it, or she'll simply bug out, in which case it wasn't worth pursuing, and you aren't wasting your time and effort on a woman with less than 100% interest level and desire. Confidence is derived from options. Don't think of plate theory as a filter so much as a means to reinforce confidence. If you were to step into the ring with a professional MMA fighter right now, it'd probably be suicide for you. However, train for a few years, spar with other fighters, and win a few bouts, and you'll probably be confident enough in your past performances that you know you can hold your own in the ring. That's the idea. Confidence derived from options of non-exclusive women in hand and from having successfully generated those options in the past. It's not a numbers game, it's a non-exclusivity game. The goal isn't racking up as many women as humanly possible in order to sift through the throng and find that one little golden flower. In fact, that's the key to disaster. There is no quality woman, that's an idealization. Some are better than others, of course, but you don't find the perfect woman, you make the perfect woman. There is no needle in the haystack, that is scarcity, oneitis thinking. The point is to mold yourself and any woman who you do exclusively end up with into your own frame. It's a process that should come before you commit to exclusivity, not after. The world is filled with guys forever trying to catch up, control the frame, and be the man they should have been long before they entered into a long-term relationship. They spend the better part of their long-term relationships, marriages, trying to prove that they deserve their girlfriend or wife's respect, when they'd have done better in letting her come to that conclusion well before the commitment through a healthy dose of competition anxiety. So the idea is this. You never go in with the idea of being exclusive. You are non-monogamous and she's one of your girls, and then she convinces you through good behavior to be monogamous with you. That's the idea. And she knows that she was just an option before, so of course you could do it again. And you can. Okay, back to the video here.
By the time you take everything off, women need to change their attitudes before they change their makeup. I'm sure that even more than that, change your attitude. Because women will go out there and they want to change this, they want to change that. All the things that don't count. If you learn to, the same way how women can go out there and learn to put makeup on, learn to cook. Learn to wash by hand. Learn to please a man.
That is so
True.
That's what you need to do.
That's
True.
outdated, girl.
She said,
right.
girl.
That's outdated.
She's right.
For who?
I'm saying it's like we had literally just talked about this off camera when you guys picked me up from the airport, when we were talking about what's the value system or the point system for a woman who cooks versus a woman who can suck good dick and fuck well.
But you can cook and suck dick as well.
No, but I'm saying is that Pearl, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but quoting her was that when she interviewed people on the street, that there was more points given to something for, like a sexual return, as opposed to wash dishes by hand. There's a dishwasher. No. Why cook? We can eat out. There's a chef. People don't give a fuck about that.
That's what they think.
That's not true. It is absolutely not true. Men do not value. She could be bad in bed. If she's willing to sleep with you on a consistent basis, man will take it. Now imagine, she wants to sleep with you on a consistent basis. She enjoys it, but she's bad in bed. But you can teach her. But she also cooks. She cleans. She washes by hand. She's respectful. She cares about you. She's loving and caring and feminine. It's incredible, the difference in relationships. And I chose the wrong, again, most guys will put up with a girl that's willing to sleep with them. But willing to sleep with them has a negative connotation, right? Like she's doing him a favor. But in fact, in order for a man to have bedroom fun with a girl, he needs to be superior to her. He needs to be better than her in every way. So it's kind of actually the man that's doing the girl a favor by being in a relationship with her. Anyway, let's continue.
But we literally just talked about this yesterday.
No, it was okay. I did a street interview and I asked the guys, would you rather have a girl that gave good head or a good cook? And most guys
want this.
But I think that's
for
more,
the quick satisfaction.
But I think that's more for a one night stand.
But what I'm trying to say is that if all the women out there and they're talking about, well, some of the women want to be settled down. They want a man. Right? And you got to think what the man wants. The man ain't interested in that. Look at when you're doing street interviews, you're interviewing single people. Look at the people there that are happily married and ask them what they do. Because all the things that the women out there are doing, you can be a housewife, you can be going out, you can suck head just as good as any old tramp on the street. And keep your man and have a man.
True.
And I can say that because I'm 32 years in counting.
Auntie, you can't
It's
say
true.
attraction's not important now. You can't say attraction is not important though.
It is important.
For you to
Initially.
get initially, exactly. A man is not gonna find you attractive and then think, because you can cook well. It's got a chef.
A man's gonna find you attractive and he's gonna.
Let's ask Andrew.
He's gonna.
Andre, would you be with a girl that's 5 out of 10 because she can cook?
That ain't what I said.
Oh, firstly, that's not what she said, to be fair. And secondly, I'd be with a 10 out of 10 who can cook because I'm top G. But to make the point, I think what you have to understand is what men are looking for in a relationship. So you did the street interview and you're asking single people, probably young people, probably idiots who know they're on camera talking shit about good head, all this garbage. It's bullshit. What men are interested in life, not just in their relationship, but in their life as a whole, is status. I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why I want the better job. It's why I want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose because it makes him look good. That's
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Oh, yeah. So true. Or, you know, you want to entertain your friends and she's able to do, you know, she's able to cook. She's able, like, set up a table, create a nice environment for the people. Like, no, absolutely. Like a social environment for the women, I'm saying. And then you as the man, you lead everything, right? Totally true. Totally true. Okay, let's go on to the Reddit post here. Guy is 41 and he's sick of his 37-year-old wife's negativity. My wife and I have been married for around 10 years. She frequently gives me unsolicited feedback on things and it's excessively negative. It could be about anything. Pictures I take, food I make, the way I drive, clothes, etc. Excessively negative basically means the frequency and sheer pettiness of the things she complains about. It feels like to constructive criticism what micromanagement is to a workplace. Instead of inspiring me to improve, I don't want to do anything with her. I've tried to talk to her about these concerns before, but it seems to go nowhere. We avoid instead of addressing and working on fixing the underlying issue. For this and other reasons, I've already checked out. But we have 2 young kids together, 7 and 10. I don't want her negativity to impact our children's development. One example, my wife chooses what clothes for them to wear. If not, she always complains about what they choose themselves. I get this gut feeling it's already causing them issues. They hesitate, lack confidence with getting dressed. It seems unhealthy to me. I'm not sure how to talk to her about it because I think this is totally normal. My wife's parents, for example, are extremely critical people. I guess she must get it from them. Yeah, you tell her, you are not to talk to me that way. That is disrespectful. That's how you say it. And you say it not now. You say it 10 years ago. The first time it happens, you say, no, that is disrespectful. You are to show me basic treatment, basic kindness. And if you're not going to treat me with basic kindness and respect, I'm not interested. Get out of here. Like, that's what you do. You don't do it after 10 years when it's festered the whole time. Let's see what the comments say. 153 upvotes. What if I spoke to you the way you spoke to me? Hey, honey, the pictures you take are awful. Your food tastes like sewer water. Your driving is going to kill our kids. Your clothes make you look like a fat cow. How do you think I like being on the other end of that? Yeah, 106 upvotes. Mirror everything she says back to her. And then ask her how she thinks you and your children feel when all she does is criticize and put you down. If that doesn't work, get yourself one of those small handheld recorders and record everything she says every time she's critical with you or the children and sit her down and play it for her. Maybe if she actually hears what she sounds like, it might wake her up. But you need to do whatever you can to mitigate any damage to your children from her negativity. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're going to end the video there. Again, if you're new to the channel, liking the content, hit that sub, hit all for notifications. If you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon with exclusive content. Patreon.com/theheliosblog. Go there and subscribe. Again, patreon.com/theheliosblog. You can also drop me a donation like Adrian R or Tom M. Here, shout outs to them. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you took the time out of your busy day to listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. You guys are wonderful. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.